Kemper looks for their second straight win of the season against OABCIG on Friday as they host the Falcons in a second-round playoff matchup. The Knights' defense shut down the Falcons in the second half in the first meeting, but OABCIG has looked sharp the last few games, having moved Dax Jajin. Head coach Ryan Steinkamp says they found ways to get him the ball.
He's getting better as the season goes on. You know, they split him out wide a little bit more, doing some other routes with him. They definitely line him up in different spots too. So it's just one of those things where our kids are locked in. It's got to communicate.
The Knights' defense forced 7 turnovers last week, with Braxton Vanami returning one of those interceptions for a touchdown. The Brinks Exterior Preview Show will begin our coverage tonight on KCIM at around 4:20 with the kickoff at 5 o'clock. I'll have that broadcast tonight along with Doug Waniger. Elsewhere in the Class of 2A football postseason this evening, of course, in Pod A, it'll be Unity Christian against Cherokee. The winners of the Kemper and Unity Christian game will square off next Friday. Pod B has Pella Christian at Prairie City Monroe and Wilton going to West Branch. Pod C, Mediapolis at Mid Prairie, and Roland Story hosting Van Meter. And in Pod D, Hampton Dumont's at Osage, and the Alburnett entertaining Waukon. Carroll opens up their playoff run in Class 3A with a home matchup against Nevada. The Cubs are 7-2 overall, while Carroll sits at 6-3. But the Tigers were district champs, while Nevada took second in their district. Carroll head coach Kirk Rowetter says the Cubs are formidable on offense.
They have a consistent run game. They're big up front, so they kind of want to establish that run game. But really, where they get you is the big plays in the passing game. They have some really explosive receivers.
The Tigers will counter with a district-leading rushing attack as a team and individual in Adam Malik. Coverage begins with the Brinks Exterior Preview Show about 10 minutes after the completion of the Kemper game. That game, though, tonight will be on 93.7 KKRL. Elsewhere in Class 3A, the other game in Pod A, along with the Carroll game, is Mount Vernon against Clear Lake. Again, those winners will play each other next Friday. Pod B is Benton at Solon, Indianapolis going to Winterset. Pod C is Mount Pleasant traveling to West Delaware, and Wahlert Catholic hosting Central DeWitt. And Pod D will be Atlantic at Bishop Heelan, and Sioux Center entertaining Des Moines Christian. Audubon takes on Montezuma in the second round of the postseason tonight. Both teams succeed on both ends of the ball. Montezuma has 26 takeaways on the season, and Wheeler's head coach Sean Burke knows their defense will be tough.
No, they're multiple. At times they'll be a 3-man front. At times they'll be more of a 4-man front. Looks like more of a typical, they don't want to be more of a 2-safety, cover 2 type team to, they don't want to give up the explosive play. They want to make you drive the ball. So we're going to have to be okay with picking up, sometimes there's going to be a 4 to 5 yard gain. That's a good gain, but
the Wheelers have outscored teams on average by 60 points this season, and it may be less about the quantity of points and more about the quality of how they execute on the offensive end. Elsewhere in Pod D tonight, which is Audubon's pod, it'll be Janesville at Iowa Valley. The winners will score off next Friday. In Pod C, it's Easton Valley at Gladbrook Rhinebeck, Edgewood Colesburg hosting Turkey Valley. In Pod B, Southeast Warren goes to Woodbine, and Fremont Mills is at Bedford. And in Pod A, North Union goes to Bishop Garrigan, while Don Bosco will entertain at Clarksville. Lamar Jackson threw for 204 yards and 4 touchdowns, showing little rust in his return from a hamstring strain. The Baltimore Ravens routed the Miami Dolphins last night 28-6. LSU Athletic Director Scott Woodward has resigned under pressure from the post he's held for the past 6 years. His departure Thursday night came 4 days after firing football coach Brian Kelly. Toronto's David Schneider has a unique ritual on Thursday. He walked barefoot around Rogers Center before the World Series resumed against the Dodgers. That game, of course, Game 6 will be played tonight. It is Toronto up in that series right now, 3-2. NBA scoreboard last night, Orlando over Charlotte 123-107. Oklahoma City down Washington 127-108. Milwaukee topped Golden State 120-110. And San Antonio got by Miami 107-101. Don't forget, New Way Ford scoreboard show coming up tonight 10 to midnight on KCIM and Kick 106.7. Casey Minders, Todd Danner, and Mason Nealon will have the show for you tonight from 10 to midnight. And Girls State Cross Country getting underway today in Class 2A. South Central Calhoun up at, of course, Fort Dodge with Iris Melody up there running today. She will get her run underway today at 10:30. That's sports here on the CB Sports Network. I'm Jeff Blankman reporting.